the same time, the third sack of the game for the Colts.
From 45 yards for Brandon McManus. Spot placement, kick on the way, and it is good. So Brandon McManus gives the Broncos the lead again with 3:19 left in the third quarter. Ryan lifts the knee, snap clock at 5, pressure on the way. Ryan in the pocket will be hit and sacked back at the 45. Fifth sack of the night by this Broncos defense. Browning and Chubb both there.
Wilson fakes it to Gordon. In the pocket, throws upfield, picked off by the Colts into the end zone, and the Colts are still alive. It's Stephon Gilmore. This is going to be a 48-yard field goal for Chase McLaughlin. There's the snap, there's the hold. Kick is on the way, and it is right down the middle. And the Colts have the lead in overtime. Shotgun snap. Wilson looking, dancing, scanning, throws into the end zone. Broken up! It's broken up! The Colts win! Ball game! Stephon Gilmore with the pass breakup.
The Playbook with Fensty and Ronis, presented by FantasyAlarm.com.
The Playbook is live on the Bettor Sports Network and coming off of an amazing, exciting, fantastic Thursday night football game. Here we are getting ready for week 5 of the fantasy football season. My name is Justin Fensterman. His name is Adam Ronis. Roan, you missed me, man? John and Pemba holding down the fort, but the team's back together on a Friday.
You were gone?
Wow.
No, I'm just kidding.
Nice slam there.
I mean, I'm used to you taking days off, so it's part of what's been going on over the last several months.
Yeah, okay. I've taken less than a full week off of days this year, Roan. I'm like you, my friend.
Now,
So
when's the last time I've taken off?
You took off back in, I want to say June.
July.
Okay, close.
How many? And you've taken off several days since then.
Come on. I've taken 2 days off.
No, there's other days mixed
in, my friend.
Nah, I don't think so. I think it's more than that. You took off days during August?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you did.
No, I didn't. I took off like 2 days in June. I took off
in August too.
Okay, yeah.
Go back and look if you want. You'll see.
Okay, you can do that here. The bottom line is, though, and I know we have vacation days, you've taken more time off, and that's a fact. Just like last night was a fact that I don't care everybody that's saying, oh, it was good football, just the fantasy audience. That game was freaking boring, Roan.
Man, like I know people say crazy stuff all the time. It literally was one of the worst games I've ever seen. It was just horrendous to watch. Terrible quarterback play. You know, Matt Ryan sacked 6 times. Russell Wilson sacked 4 times. Each threw 2 interceptions. Receivers had balls in their hands, and the defenders made good plays to knock it away. I mean, no touchdowns in this game. So if you had the first touchdown prop, you were sweating that. I did see some tickets where people played no touchdowns. Obviously, it paid out really big. But, we talked about the game yesterday. I did say that the under seemed too obvious. I guess the obvious money in this one won. I mean, because for real, it looked so obvious. But I did give out some props that hit. Alec Pierce over 34.5 receiving yards. He had 81.
Yeah.
Cortland Sutton over 4.5 receptions. Had to sweat that, but he did get 5. I didn't give it out as a play, but I mentioned Matt Ryan throwing a pick, and he did. So at least from a props perspective, it was pretty good. But, man, Nyheim Hines getting hurt on the first drive. I did not play his props. We talked about them and said they're probably pretty good, but didn't give it out as an official play. And I did pick him up in a league this week in our Series 6 I'm hosting and play him. He got 1.8. So fortunately, I had Denver's defense in that one, and they gave me 17. So it kind of offsets, I mean, but yeah, not good. But yeah, it was just a brutal game to watch, man. And we sat there and kept watching pretty much because either bets or fantasy. And, we've seen some bad NFL games this year. And that's why I get upset when people bash baseball and basketball. I'm like, guys, you act like the NFL product is great. It's really not right now. It's a lot of parity. We've seen a lot of bad football. But why are we watching gambling and fantasy? And I've said that even like 5-6 years ago. The NFL is not the best product. It's the most popular because, again, it's a shorter season. It's once a week. That's why. I'm sorry. Like, I know we haven't had high-scoring playoff games today, but those games are more exciting than what we watched last night.
I've had fun. I've been watching all day. We're going to talk about that. We'll keep you up to date with what's going on. Right now, it's 2-1 in the top of the 9th inning. We'll just break from the action and talk.
Whoa! What's going on with Wookie, bro? What is this in the chat? Come on, man.
Oh, but he's a West Coaster.
Who's he a fan of?
I'm guessing the Diamondbacks. I think he's a Phoenix guy, actually.
And you're going to root against the Mets when I helped him with a fantasy advice?
Wow,
Wookie, man. That is bad.
That is a heel turn right there,
right?
Wookie.
Come on, man.
Wookie's hung with us for years. He was a late night freak when we were on Sirius XM late at night. Now here he's been hanging with us every single day in the chat. Wookie, why would you act like a rookie and root against the Mets when you know that we're both Mets fans? How do you expect to get help from us anymore? Come on.
And here's a development here. So the Phillies came into the ninth down 2-0. They are now down 2-1 with the bases loaded and 1 out. And Ryan Helsley is coming out of the game with a trainer. Now, he hurt his finger the other day. So maybe that's the issue. So that's in a short series, that's a big deal. So Phillies have an opportunity here. But yeah, interesting game here with the Cardinals and Phillies. Cardinals have pretty much been in control up 2-0, but the Phillies with an opportunity here to take the lead with Gene Sikora coming to the plate. So, I mean, look, playoff baseball is exciting, man. You're living and dying on every single pitch, man. And we will be in that stress mode tonight when our Mets take on the Padres.
Right. By the way, I think so you were actually hitting a prop earlier I saw on fantasyalarm.com too. From the game that was earlier in baseball. We will get back to football. Relax, take it easy, take a deep breath. It's okay. It's playoff baseball. 2-1 Guardians over Rays, and you had the over 5 strikeouts for Shane Bieber. Struck out 8, man. That almost looked too easy right there when I was listening to your video before for your prize pick right there, man. Good job on that call.
Yeah, that's on fantasyalarm.com. I do a prize picks video a couple times a week. So that one I did last night because I saw the games were early.
I noticed it went out really early.
Yeah, I was like, I'm not waking up. It's a noon Eastern start. I'm not waking up early. So after the football,
damn, this guy discovering the morning here.
After the football game, I said, you know what? I'm going to do this now. So there wasn't a lot of batter props out. I was like, all right, let me find some pitcher ones I like. So Shane Bieber over 5, that cashed. I had Zach Wheeler over 4 strikeouts. It pushed. He had 4 and 6 1/3. So if you did the 2 power play parlay, you hit it just less money than what it originally put out because the push. So it's still cashed. If you did it separate, you cashed the Bieber. So it still worked out.
Yep. Also 3-0 Mariners jumping out early ahead of the Blue Jays. So 3-0 M's right now. I'm backing the Mariners.
Oh, I love the Mariners in this series. So I talk about it elsewhere, not on here, but I like them. They were plus 150 to win this series. I do like the Rays to win the series, so obviously that looks bad. But I did like the Rays going in and the Mariners going in the AL.
Big spot, though, right here. It looks like Vladdy Jr. is coming up for the Blue Jays with 2 on in the bottom of the 3rd inning here. So we'll have to see what they have to do. It's always rocking there at Rogers, man. I've never been there, but it seems like a fun place to watch a baseball game. Even back in the Bautista bat flip days. Remember that? That was like 8. What was that? Like 6, 7 years ago already? 8 years ago almost? That seemed like it was yesterday.
Yeah. I've never been there either. I've been to probably, I don't know, 8 stadiums or so, maybe. But yeah, there's a lot that I need to see. So I keep saying I got to go to Pittsburgh. That stadium looks beautiful, and I never go. So I have to go next year. I keep saying that. It's a 6-hour drive, I believe, from where I'm at. So
well, this goes to game 3 here. Marty, our buddy here in the chat, he's going to be going right there. Please, I got tickets if needed right there. Rocks.
On Marty, a Sunday. Please. So he's going to miss NFL. Oh, come on, Marty. You usually well, the time of that change. That time of the game depends on what happens in these series. It could be a 4:00 game because I'm assuming not all are going to go 3. So, it could be 4, it could be 8. So
you like these wild card rules? You like how they're doing it this year?
I'll let you know after the Mets series. No, I get it. I get it. If you're a wild card, you shouldn't have an easy path. And, it's unfortunate that the Mets were in a division where both teams won 100 games, but, they get the 3 games at home and then you quick turnaround. So it does make it exciting. I think it's better than the 1 game. So, but I think a couple of these teams don't deserve to be here. But if they get hot, then they'll deserve the run. But it would suck, man. You win 101 games and you got like a 87 win Philly team. Imagine like they're the representative. I mean, you kind of saw last year with the Braves. So that's the thing with baseball.
Yeah, man. Even back in the day before the wild card, you had multiple years where 100-win teams just didn't make the playoffs. And it's sad. It's absolutely sad. I was going back and looking at some of the playoffs, like who made it from which years back in the 80s. It's sad, man, having 100 wins and not making it. Isn't that in a way why the Yankees back in the 80s at times got squeezed out?
Yeah, the Mets had some years too when one representative from the NL East when they were battling the Cardinals in the 80s as well. So, Marty, just make sure you check us out on the app while you're at the game so you can catch up on football. Watch us on Sunday.
Better Zone, 1 to 5 p.m. Eastern with Ronas, Corey Parson, and Tom Casale as well. So they're going to be on from, all 4 hours there on Bettor Sports Network. Let's talk a little bit about what's going on, though, when it comes to the news for NFL. We spent a lot of time already talking about baseball. We got the
Phillies take the lead.
What happened there?
They definitely tied it. Segura with a base hit, 2-run score. Wow. He slapped it to the right side. Oh, man. I hate the Phillies and the Cardinals, though, so I don't know.
I was about to ask who you want to win this one.
I hate ball. No, that series, I don't know. You know what? I don't know. I was thinking about this. I want whoever can beat the Braves, but then I'm like, do I want the Braves to lose, or would it be better if the Mets face the Braves? But let me not get ahead of myself. The Mets got to win this series first, so let's pull back on that.
Yeah, dude. I mean, seriously. I mean, they don't fare well against the Padres. By the way, Wookie answered before I saw in the chat. He said when it comes to the Padres, he was a season ticket holder from his days in San Diego. So he's rooting on the Padres tonight, Roan. We got the Darvish versus Scherzer match.
That's all right. Well, Wookie, if I missed your question over the weekend, it was an accident.
Dang. Anything else we need to say? By the way, Roan, I'm going to give you some credit here. You talked about how people would be chasing the tight ends when it comes to the Colts. Once again, you chased tight ends from the week before. Did not work out. Mo Alley Cox, Jelani Woods did nothing pretty much.
Yeah, John brought up Mo Alley Cox, and he was like, his props 1.5 receptions, 18.5 yards. I'm like, yeah, I know it's low. I can't do it, man. And you saw 1 catch for 7 yards. So, I mean, Alec Pierce came through in this game. I actually picked him up in a league last week. He was available in a league with 20 roster spots. I didn't start him, but he is really coming along. Matt Ryan has been speaking highly of him. And, the reason why I liked him yesterday is I thought Pittman would get the tougher matchup against Surtain. I didn't see Surtain on Pittman every time, but Pierce got it done. I mean, Pittman, you were playing in season long anyway. You'll take 5 for 59 with the way things went last night. I thought Dion Jackson looked pretty good. I originally had him in my rankings, but I took him out because I thought Lindsey might have a bigger role. But Jackson, 13 for 62. But it sounds like Jonathan Taylor could be back next week. We'll see about Nyheim Hines. On the Denver side, I mean, Russell Wilson looked horrendous, man. I mean, that interception that he threw into the end zone, like, I don't know why he threw it. You didn't need a touchdown there. I had no problem with them passing and going for it on that 4th down play, the one at the end of regulation where he got picked off by
Gilmore.
Gilmore. And it wasn't even a Sutton or Judy. It was like the 5th string wide receiver who ran a terrible route, Washington. So I don't know what they were doing there on that. And Wilson just did not look good at all, man. It was pretty embarrassing.
What's up with him, man? He's just
I don't know.
He has no confidence. He's got none right now.
Yeah, he threw some terrible passes. You got to start to wonder what the locker room. You saw KJ Hamler on that last play. He was furious, banging his helmet on the ground.
Was slamming his helmet down to the ground.
He was wide open. Wilson didn't even look that way. He was staring to his left the whole time, and that's part of the problem. He's locking down on wide receivers right now, so I think the defenders know where he's going. I mean, a lot of times the hitters are not getting separation. The receivers are not getting. I said hitters, right? Because I'm watching the Phillies game. It's 4-2 now.
We know what you mean.
So the receivers weren't getting separation. I thought Melvin Gordon didn't look great. He was better in the passing game, 3 for 49, but I thought Boone looked pretty good. 7 for 38 on the ground and 3 for 47 through the air. So interested to see what happens as Latavius Murray comes in next week. You know, Cortland Sutton, 5 for 74 and 11 targets. You'll take it. Judy, 3 for 53. I mean, that's the thing. And this offense has been terrible in the red zone. And I put this on Twitter all last night. We get Denver again in primetime next week, Monday night against the Chargers. It's like 4 times already. Come on, man. You know what? They need to change. They should be able to flex out of early season games. Change the rule,
you know what
man.
we have next Thursday?
Yeah, Bears in Washington.
Amazing game. I can't wait for that one.
I mean, look, I think they want to get I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they have that every team gets a Thursday night game. I think that is the case. But they got to start flexing early in the season. Do we really have to watch the Broncos again? It's horrendous. They're awful to watch. Yes, people thought they were going to be good. It's not happening. I don't want to see them again.
Here, let's do a little activity here. Let's do very, very quick activity. We don't have to it's all opinion anyway. I'm going to go through every team with you right now. You tell me if you think that they've been fun to watch this year. And I know that teams are going to be impacted by injuries and everything, but just from you're watching all the games, I'm watching all the games. So let's just go through all the teams right now. Miami, I'd say I know that they're now dealing with the Tua situation. They've been fun to watch, no? Yes. The Bills, fun to watch, right?
Yes.
The Jets,
I'm going to say yes. I know because I think they're intriguing with Zach Wilson now there and the receivers they have and Breece Hall. I'm going to say yes. I think they will be going forward. And they had they did good rally against the Browns. I'm going to say yes.
What about the Patriots?
No,
they're slow moving. What about the Browns?
I'm going to
Run
say
game's been fun, but that's pretty much it.
I'm going to say yes because Nick Chubb is so fun to watch and Cooper and Njoku, and, they'll get Watson back. So maybe not fun, but not boring, I don't think.
Bengals, I put up there. They're
yes,
fun.
But they got to stop running the football. I mean, come on. We talked about it last week. When you're averaging 2.7 yards per carry, I'm sorry, it's not working. You have Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, Hayden Hurst. They were picking up huge chunks of yards last week, and yet they kept running the football. So it's going to cost them games if they don't shift their philosophy.
What about the Ravens? They're interesting.
Lamar Jackson, man. Yeah. Lamar Jackson, Mark Andrews, yeah.
Yep. The Steelers are not fun. I'm interested now. I'm
interested in with Kenny Pickett there.
Right.
They have good. Oh my God, the Cardinals are imploding. That might be an error there, but it is now 5-2 Phillies. 5 runs in the 9th inning.
Top of the 9th inning. This is terrible. Dang.
And a bad beat if you had the under. I don't know what it was. It was probably 6 or 7. Wow. Yeah, because think about it. Yeah, a lot of these were – I didn't see what it was. My guess it had to be 6 or 7. And now they have 7 runs. So imagine going to the 9th inning, 2-0. Oh, I'm good. Oh, man.
The bet is never done, bro. The bet is never done.
Oh, that was a Nolan Arenado with an error. Wow, you never see that.
What?
I wonder – I didn't see if it was a bad hop or if he's – maybe, sometimes because there was a stat on TV, they were 93-0 with a 2-run lead going into the 9th. And now here you are in the biggest spot of the season and you blow it. Cardinals fans are leaving. That's pathetic, man. Yeah. Come on, man.
Because no team has ever had a 2-run rally before in the bottom of the 9th inning, right? You paid for the tickets. You probably paid what, $500-600 there for tickets?
See, I do not blame the Broncos fans who left last night. Did you see that?
Yes, I did.
I do not blame them. They knew what was coming. They knew Russ is not cooking. Russ is cooking microwavable garbage. He's cooking jail food. That's what he's cooking. So they said, you know what? I'm going home. And that is one time. And we talked about this. I'll never leave a game. That was one time. I can't blame the fans last night, man. That was atrocious to watch. And they probably knew it was coming. So that was I can't blame them. I can't blame them last night.
By the way, our boss, Matt Deutsch at Bettor Sports Network, is saying, Ronis, that you're spoiling the game because you're –
I apologize. I know.
I'm sorry I have this happen. We're doing our job. We're supposed to keep everybody
informed. It's not my fault you can't afford good TV and you're on a delay. Just kidding.
He's not. That's the thing. He's not.
But then someone else in the chat mentioned it too before me. So get on him.
Everybody updated. Okay. Here's the deal. I'm giving this disclaimer right now. 2 disclaimers I'm giving. Number 1, we have a London game again this weekend, okay? We have a London game.
Yeah, so don't beg to take someone out of the lineup if they get scratched.
It's on you.
I don't know. Well, who's on? Who's
no
on?
one.
There's nobody really on the injury report of significance, right? Kirk Tony has been ruled out. He's got 7 hamstring injuries now. Wandale Robinson is not playing.
Nope.
So, I mean, the only giant you're playing is Saquon Barkley, unless you're playing Daniel Jones in a super flex. I have Jones in a super flex, and I was able to get Bridgewater. I'm playing Bridgewater over Daniel Jones in the super flex.
I got Bridgewater and Scott Fish.
What?
I was actually able to.
Yeah, you know what? I did too, but I don't think I could start him there because I have Cousins and Murray. So I don't think I could play him over either of those guys.
I benched Ryan in favor of him.
Oh, well, yeah, Ryan, you can't start right now. There's no way. I think I had him ranked 28th at quarterback this week, Matt Ryan.
Dang.
Like, for real. I start Pickett over him.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, over Matt Ryan? Yeah. Oh, yeah. I have more confidence in Pickett right now. I know it's Buffalo and it's on the road. Buffalo has some injuries. Jordan Poyer's out. You know, yeah. I mean, he'll throw. He'll run a little bit. I'd definitely play Pickett. I mean, again, the rankings were there before. But, yeah, I had Ryan at 28 this week. So, I did have Wilson at 13. Sorry about that. I'll lower him again next week. But, yeah, Russ, that's the thing right now. Russell Wilson's, you really can't start him. We talked about Matthew Stafford. It's tough to start him. Quarterback's rough, man. Like, this was not the year to even Derek Carr. Like, we thought, oh, Derek Carr's going to be good. He's been bad. I know the teams that I have, Lamar Jackson and Jalen Hurts, are doing well because of them. They're kind of carrying the team with a lot of.
Trey Lance got hurt. I know that's a different conversation, but that's just, you add that fuel to the fire that is waiting on quarterbacks. And yeah, it's not fun. So for those that are like, this is why you draft the best guys. Yeah, well, you're happy as hell right now.
And there's still time. There's still time. I mean, these guys could turn it around, but they've put a few teams in a deep hole already at like 1-3, 0-4, or low points if points totals matter.
6-2 in favor of the Phillies now.
Yeah, that's.
Did I wait long enough?
Yeah.
Did I wait long enough to update? 6-2, we got 3-0 in the other live game. Mets game coming up against the Padres in just a little bit. We'll keep you up to date with the baseball for those that are either having a rooting interest in this or placing a wager. We'll get going talking about what's going on when it comes to NFL injuries. And then Prop Wars Week 5. We both went 1-4 last week, looking to do better. Can't do much worse. So we'll each give 5 props that we're thinking about player props for Sunday before our final drive, and we send you off to Bettor Sports Live. He's Adam Ronis. Give him a follow on Twitter at Adam Ronis. I'm Justin Fensterman. Give me a follow at Fensty Sports. Give BSN a follow at Bettor Network. It's the Playbook with Fensty and Ronis, powered by FantasyAlarm.com here on Bettor Sports Network.
The Playbook with Fensty and Ronis. Corey, Nando, and friends. Presented by Mayo Media on Bettor Sports Network.
I'm convinced that Babe Ruth is a fictional character. Babe Ruth is not real. No, it's not. Babe Ruth is not real. We've been hoodwinked. We've been bamboozled. We've been led astray. We've been run amok.
Keep going.
Babe Ruth. I don't know the rest. Babe Ruth is a fictional character. I'm dead serious. Babe Ruth is a fictional character. Y'all are never going to get me to believe that Babe Ruth is real. Babe Ruth is like a baseball Santa Claus. I'm not buying it. After I saw those highlights last night of Babe Ruth, I'm like, there's no way you can tell me that Babe Ruth is a real person. Who do you know? There is nobody under the sound of my voice that has ever seen Babe Ruth play. I asked my pop, you ever seen Babe Ruth play? He's like, no. Nobody's ever seen Babe Ruth play.
I mean, come on.
I'm telling you, Babe Ruth is a fictional character. Even Babe Ruth baseball cards, it looked like it's drawn. Like, Babe Ruth is not real. Y'all trying to pull a fast one. Listen, I don't know who made this up. Maybe it was Phil Rizzuto. Maybe it's the Lenny Melnick. But Babe Ruth is not a real person. There's no way. Everything about Babe Ruth is sketchy. If you didn't go to the games, how do you know that it really happened? Or I listened on the radio. You listen to Ovaltine on the radio. That old school radio was all fiction. Everything on old school radio was fake. But you think Babe Ruth is real?
Look, he lived until 1948. So if you find someone who's like 85 years old, they might have remembered him when he was little, when they were a little teenager.
Babe Ruth was made up by baseball purists. I am certain.
You do that thing where you pause the Babe Ruth video And you zoom in and you zoom in and you zoom in. You see like some artist autograph like right here.
Yeah,
Some digital art right here. Yeah.
Yeah, somebody need to investigate this and see if Babe Ruth is a real person. I'm pretty sure Babe Ruth is a fictional character created to make people think that like there was this great jolly old baseball player that drank beers and ate hot dogs and hit 60 home runs. Like the home run record before Babe Ruth was like 14. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, and
But
now
he figured it out, you know, like who figured out the dunk, right? Like he's just like, oh,
that's like
get it
Dr.
over
J
here.
or something like. Then Dr. J, probably was before Dr. J, but Dr. J made the dunk famous. Babe Ruth made the home run famous, or maybe that was a way to get people to like. We're gonna make baseball America's pastime, but in order to do so, we need somebody who we can make the face of the sport. And they didn't have no face of the sport. So they're like, okay, let's make him a fictional guy that played for the Red Sox and was traded to the Yankees for like tickets to tickets to cats. You know what I'm saying? Like the Red Sox get a Yankees.
You tried to say leave.
Is there any footage of Babe Ruth in the Red Sox uniform? None. I'm telling you, Babe Ruth is a fictional character.
Single receiver left. Rodgers shotgun. A.J. Dillon to his right. Snap to Rodgers. Lofts it over the middle. Touchdown! Touchdown, Green Bay Packers. Bobby Tunyon over the middle.
Fishing a treat, Governor.
Jones fakes the handoff. He's going to roll to his left, looking, and he's going to just punt. Jones to the 15, Jones to the 10, Jones to the 5, Jones in, touchdown Giants, 21 yards, Daniel Jones.
Make bets and follow your fantasy team where you buy, sell, and trade collectibles in real time. Only on Bettor Sports Network.
This is another warning sign. Your fantasy football day begins when it comes to the live action. 9:30 a.m. Eastern on Sunday. Some of you didn't take heed of the warning we gave you last week, and then you're all crying when your commissioners won't allow Alvin Kamara to be subbed out in game, which is absolutely atrocious right there. As we welcome you back to the playbook here on Bettor Sports Network, talking with a lot of people, Roan, a lot of fans of teams talking about in the comments section whether or not they would leave the game and under what circumstances. I know that we all want to get out, don't want to sit in traffic in the parking lot alone, let alone on the road. But at the same time, it's a playoff game. You're spending all that money. You're paying for the parking anyway. Why not just stay?
Well, it depends. So at Citi Field, I try to park in the street a few blocks away because I know the area. I know out-of-towners are probably scared, but no, for real. Like they like, oh, it's I don't want to walk at night in that neighborhood or whatever. I don't care. So I'll try and park in the street. You know, I love to walk anyway. We've talked about this working from home. I take walks every day, so that'll just give me extra steps. So I try to park in the street. And then when I go to MetLife, I found and was told it's much easier to take the train. Even though I am very close to the stadium, parking lot's a nightmare. So now I found a train that takes me right there. So I'll take the train. But look, I'm there to enjoy the game. And I don't want to give up on my team, even if they're down 6-2, especially when it comes to the Mets. How many times have we seen the Mets have these miraculous comebacks this year? And even if it's a football game, you know, how often do you get to go? It's 3 hours. So I'm going to stay. I understand some people are like an hour, hour and a half away. Then don't go. What's the point? And you know you're going to have to deal with traffic. You know it's going to take time to get home and get there. If it's that much of a nuisance that you got to leave in the third quarter, leave in the seventh inning, then why bother going for? I don't understand it, but that's just me.
Yeah, neither. I mean, you spend all that money on playoff tickets. I just don't get why you don't like see that the game ends.
Look, even if it's lopsided, like I think the only game I ever left early was like maybe 13-3 or something like that. And even then I didn't want to leave. But if someone says, hey, let's go. All right, fine. I get that. But especially if it's a nice summer day, I want to be outside. Plus, I like when everyone else leaves. I actually don't mind it. Then it just makes it easier to walk out. But no way I'm leaving a playoff game. I'm going to the Mets game on Saturday night. It's going to be cold. There's no way I'm leaving early, man. Now, if the Mets are, I don't even want to say it, but, you know, even then, I'll probably just sit there and sulk in misery by myself. My friends will leave, and I'll just be like, yeah, let me just sit here. And
if you make a sad enough face, maybe
I'll be on TV.
Yes,
Yeah.
the broadcast will catch you. And then it'll be like they'll show you just sitting there pouting. Oh, there's a dejected Met fan right there. Looks like he's been through a lot, this guy.
I'll go viral. Like, damn, this guy looks really young and he's got grays. It must be from the Mets.
There's the crying Jordan meme, and then there's gonna be the sad face Ronus one that goes out.
Nah, hopefully not, man. Come on. I want to get a 2-0 sweep. Come on. Let's go.
Don't forget though, Ron, like let's say that it does happen, they get split. We gotta be careful of departing because we got a London game, man. We got to get up early. I mean, I'm going to be up early anyway.
I wouldn't sleep all night if that's the case. I'll just stay up and, get ready to I mean, again, look, when we look at this issue right now for the London game, there's really nothing here, right? As we mentioned with the Giants, it's Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley. Jones only in a super flex league. And even then, he's not automatic. Like I said, I picked up Teddy Bridgewater. I'm playing him over Daniel Jones. Barkley's in. You're not playing anyone else on the Giants. On the Packers side, Aaron Jones, Dillon, Rodgers, Dobbs, Lazard, maybe Tunyon. I don't think any of those guys are on the injury report, but you never know. Something could happen. They could be out the night before in London. Anything can happen. So even if you are like, well, none of these guys are on the injury report, good to go, you never know what could happen. So just wake up early, make sure you guys are in, and then if you want to go back to bed, go ahead.
Yeah, that's all you got to do. I mean, and if you're a light sleeper, you can doze back to bed. You can doze off. It's fine. Just set your lineups. We shouldn't have to even convince you. But so many people were whining about Alvin Kamara. That's fantasy football. That's what happens. It's a similar situation to, let's say, a big name player in the 4:25 game or the 8 o'clock game Sunday night. They go out. It's the same thing. It happens. Things just happen sometimes. And no, it's not up to your commissioner. Now, I said this earlier in the week, and I'll say it again. And this game's a bad example because, like we're saying, we don't have any key questionables going into this one. But if you really want to protect yourself and you don't want to wake up early, you go to your commissioner. Now, your commissioner does not have to say yes to this, but I can't imagine that a commissioner wouldn't, just to make sure that they're double checking the lineup. Go to the commissioner if you're a West Coaster and your commissioner's on the East Coast and see, hey, can you just double check? I got a lot of players in this game. I got a couple of impact players. In case some crazy stuff goes on, can you just help me out, double check so I don't have to wake up at 6 a.m.? That's the only exception. Not hard to do. Ask your commissioner, but no one wants to ask anything. Then you don't have the right to complain when you don't make that lineup move in the future when the game's in London again or Germany. That's how you solve the problem right there, Ron. There's no other way if you don't want to wake up.
Yeah, and your commissioner doesn't have to say yes either.
No, doesn't. I would say yes because I would be impressed. That's genius right there. I just gave you all something that's very smart to do. If you want to hedge
I have a question for you.
Yes.
So for the Hoops League, I sent out multiple emails. When did I say the money was due?
Today, actually.
Okay. And how many emails did I send about it?
I remember off the top of my head at least 2.
Okay. Because someone today, I was like, hey, the money's due today. He goes, oh, I thought it was due on the 15th. People don't read, man. I sent it out multiple times. And then he's like, I can't get the money today. I said, when can you? He didn't reply. So I'm probably going to replace him. I don't have time for this.
No, you don't. The draft.
Again, I send these emails in advance for a reason.
Yeah.
Like, if you can't play, you don't have to let me know. I will find someone else. It's just annoying, man. People don't read. The draft's the 15th. The money is due today. The reason why I do the money a week ahead of time is a situation like this. Imagine I waited till draft day. Oh, I don't have the money. Now what am I going to do? Find someone last minute? No, gives me time now. I'll replace you. Simple.
You're right about
commissioners, man. You got to be stern out there. Don't let people walk over you. You set a due date a week before the draft for the money. If they don't have it at that time, they're not serious about playing, and they were probably going to screw you over anyway. Replace them.
Hey, Marty paid for the league.
I know that. He did pay. He was the first one to pay.
You wanted to make sure we knew that in the comment section right there. But by the way, you ready for this? It's funny you saying people don't read. I actually had someone that literally said that after saying he didn't want to be in my league, I then took his team out, and he's like, why'd you take the team out? I had that happen to me for my home basketball league this week. Then you ready for this? I'll bring it up now, whatever, and then because we're going to be talking a lot of props in anyway for NFL. So I got second place in one of my fantasy basketball leagues. Obviously, there's a payout for that. The commissioner didn't grab all the entry fees. The commissioner wanted to assign me 2 people to give me their entry fees. And I flipped the you-know-what. I can't have that.
That's the commissioner's job.
Not on me. Now it's on me.
the commissioner's job.
Right. It's the commissioner's job to collect the entry fees. It's not my job to now go to people I don't know and do that. It's ridiculous. Have you ever heard of anything like that before?
No, I would never do that. It's my responsibility. If I'm going to be a commissioner, that's why I'm so stern on getting these entry fees before the draft, because I don't want to be in that situation. Like I told you, there's only one guy that I've done it for, and he always pays me all the time, but I've known him like a long time. I was really tight with his brother, and then we became friends. And I still feel bad about it, but he has paid me every single time. So that's why I do it. But, especially if you don't know someone well, you can't, man. You got to get it beforehand, because someone can come up with an excuse. I don't have the money. I'm going through something, and, you want to feel sorry for people. But at the same time, they have a responsibility to pay. You should have paid on time, and that's why you got to collect it beforehand.
Are you going to send another email about this league or the draft, or is that it? Because I'm wondering how many you're going to forget that the draft is next Saturday.
No,
at
I'll send
noon Eastern, Ronus. Noon.
Well,
draft.
when did you want me to have it?
Dude, I think it's all. Hey, man, look, if we can't do it at night or whatever for some reason, then I'm down to.
We could always move it tonight, but
Well, now you're not. Now you.
No, now I'm not. Everyone agreed. Everyone agreed to the date, so that's it. And it shouldn't take long. It should be an hour and a half anyway.
Yeah, now I can't spend time with my family on Saturdays.
Oh, stop! It's an hour and a half. You could do it before or after.
I can.
Stop with that.
Hey, man, trust me. I'm down for the noon drafts. I can never get that done in any of my leagues. A noon draft. I could barely get a 4:30 one. Now it's at night. It's for an auction. That's what's crazy about that. Let's go over some injuries, though, when it comes to the NFL. More rolling in. But here's the big one here in a pretty good matchup. Kyle Pitts, he is not going to play, man. Just the investment in him. And I'm going to put Keenan Allen, who's also out in there, too. It just sucks, the draft capital that you've had to pay for both of these players, third, early fourth round, and just not getting that return because of the health issues. And that's with Allen, at least. Now with Pitts, it's the health issues, and in general, what's going on with the Falcons offense. It's just not been fun. It's been the Pitts with this guy.
Yeah, he's probably doing you a favor anyway, because you were probably going to put him in the lineup and get another 2 for 19. So at least with this, you're like, oh, okay, I don't have to deal with this anymore. But yeah, I think it sucks, obviously, if you have him. I only have him in one best ball league, and it's a FFPC where it's a tight end premium. So that sucks. But they're saying they don't expect him to miss much time. You have to hope that he's back next week. But yeah, look, there's been so many disappointments this year, man. So many disappointments, and Pitts is right near the top.
Yeah, no, that's for darn sure. Let's talk about another situation right now when it comes to the injuries. Miami, they're dealing with a bunch of banged up players, including Xavier Howard, Ron Armstead still. Jalen Waddle, though, is banged up. Tyreek Hill, all listed as questionable with Teddy Bridgewater. And I'm in that season-long betting contest, Ronan. I've not bet the Jets one time this year. And now it's all of a sudden, I'm not starting to say lock it in. But earlier in the week, I was thinking it was going to be Miami all the way because I still don't love the Jets defense. But the Jets can put up some offense here. And it makes me wonder if I should maybe consider taking the Jets with the points instead.
I still lean Miami, especially if Tyreek plays. I think Bridgewater's fine. So the key is Tyreek Hill. He's been, against the Jets secondary, he's going to be able to shred them. So I've taken the Jets a couple times this year.
Did you take them?
Yeah, I took them last week.
Didn't you take them the week they played Cleveland?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
And I took them last week as well. So this week, though, I think I'm on Miami.
There you go. So that's what Miami's looking at. Detroit, no Swift, no Chark. I'm on Ross St. Brown. Last I checked, Ron, I don't know if you've seen any other update. He's still listed as questionable. I know he practiced earlier. Josh Reynolds, also questionable too. And then your Cowboys, how concerned are you with the CeeDee Lamb groin injury? Tony Pollard apparently sick, but more on the Lamb side of it because we're not going to have Dak back for this one. What do you think about CeeDee Lamb's injury?
He said yesterday he was fine. He was going to play. Then news came out today that he had MRI. They do expect him to play. So hoping he goes. That would obviously be another loss to the receivers that we see a lot on the injury report right now. And that game is 4:25 because they are playing on the West Coast in LA. So again, the NFL with the brilliant scheduling, just 3 4:00 games this week. And
why are they doing this, Ro?
They did it 2 weeks in a row, 9 games at 1 and 3 at 4. I don't get it. I mean, look, for me, honestly, as a Cowboys fan, it's better. I can focus on that game more. It's at 4:25. The other 2 games are the 49ers and Panthers, which is dreadful. And the Eagles-Cardinals could be interesting. I've been saying all week, I think the Cardinals are going to cover. The line looks like a trap. Everything points to the Eagles. I think the Cardinals are going to cover and keep this game close.
Do you think that, one of the things I was thinking about for this one here is I was actually looking at the total for this one as well and wondering if that could go over. Because I like to try to think of which game I think has the best chance of going over. I like the over on 48.5 when it comes to these two teams.
I don't have a strong feel on it. I think Chargers-Brown is a good over. They had a shootout last year. Brown's defense hasn't been as good. Chargers have been susceptible against the run, allowing 5.4 yards per carry. So I could see that game going over.
Let's continue talking about some injuries with all of you before we get to this week of Prop Wars. Let us know if you have any conundrums about players that you're planning on starting. Maybe in a bad matchup, you might want to bench that player. A lot of players not coming through, that scoring universally down in the NFL this year. He's Ronas. I'm Fensty. This is the Playbook powered by FantasyAlarm.com. Let's continue going over injuries, and we'll go over what we're seeing on these sportsbook lines for the games as well on Bettor Sports Network.
Bettor Sports Network. It's sports talk done better. The Playbook with Fensty and Ronas, presented by FantasyAlarm.com.
What about Zach Ertz, though, when Hopkins comes back, thinking about it long term? Do you think
you got to continue to play the guy. I mean, the tight end position is so bad. I mean, I think this week, I got to start ranking guys like Ertz ahead of Kyle Pitts. I mean,
wow.
What do you mean, wow? What has Kyle Pitts done to continue to rank him in the top 5?
No, you're right. It's interesting, man, that he just has not come through. And I'm wondering, he had the 1 week he did, but I'm wondering if they're going to get right at all. Now, I'm not saying you're wrong by any stretch. He hasn't been good.
Parker Heath, the tight end for Atlanta, played more snaps than him. Yeah. Pitts ran 12 routes. Heath ran 6. Pitts had 4 targets. They're not throwing the football enough either. That's the problem. But, yeah, look, I'm sure people don't have Pitts and Ertz anyway. It's to the point with Pitts right now where you do have to consider another tight end over it. I'm not saying Cole Kmet, but if you have Njoku and Pitts, is it really outlandish to play Njoku over Pitts right now?
No.
If you don't have Kyle Pitts or you don't follow this stuff, you don't realize how bad he's been. And I only have Kyle Pitts in a best ball and an FFPC best ball, so it's not like whatever. And I just looked at that roster. I'm like, oh, my backup is Albert Elf. Looks like I'm in trouble. And look, it should get better for him. But the guy has 10 receptions for 150 yards. No touchdowns. Here are his game logs. 2 for 19, 2 for 19, 5 for 87, 1 for 25. This is just pathetic at this point. And people spent the 3rd round pick on it. There's probably not much you can do. I think people are like, well, I drafted him, I got to use him. You don't have to, man. You really don't. Right. If you have David Njoku, I might play him over Pitts right now. I know it sounds crazy, but we've seen 4 weeks of this garbage.
Yeah, and even a decent matchup against Tampa for him, it's the quarterback. That's the problem. It's the quarterback. We talked about this.
Yeah, we saw Drake London yesterday. Drake London is a hell of a talent. Mm-hmm. They completed 7 passes, and they won, which is the worst part. Somehow this team is 2-2.
The Playbook with Fensty and Ronas, presented by FantasyAlarm.com. The Playbook with Fensty and Ronas, presented by FantasyAlarm.com.
Shotgun snap to Mack. He looks to the middle. He's going to run it left. He's going to run it for a touchdown. Patriots have the lead.
He got the gritty going. There's the snap to Goff. Ian Chase throws end zone. Yes. Touchdown Detroit Lions. Oh, baby, that is big time stuff. Amon-Ra St. Brown had to go up to get it, and he did it.
The Playbook with Fensty and Ronis, presented by FantasyAlarm.com on Bettor Sports Network.
Lions and Patriots radio networks on the calls that you just heard a little. Amon-Ra St. Brown listed as questionable, but the Patriots are going to be in an interesting scenario, Ron, as Bailey Zappi is going to be starting against Detroit. That's the interesting news. Here's the thing. Could we have unsung heroes from this offense this week? We got Prop Wars coming up, and I started to try to figure out something there because the Lions defense has just been so bad. But this quarterback, very unfamiliar overall. I'm very interested to see if the Patriots can put up points still with Zappi under center.
They should be. I thought he looked pretty solid last week. We know that they're going to run the football with Harris and Stevenson. So, and we've seen how bad the Lions' defense has been. So I think they can.
Yeah, it's been bad in all areas for the Lions. Made Geno Smith look like a rock star last week. I still can't get over, and this is a way to sum up the fantasy football season when you have Jared Goff and Geno Smith as your top two fantasy quarterbacks from a week. That's what we're looking at right now. That's why we're here talking about all these players, all these scenarios, who can help you win, because we have a lot of questionable players and performances in the young season here. By the way, Nick Durst sitting there. Nick Durst been hanging a lot at MetLife Stadium, our roving reporter for Bettor Sports Network, saying that Jared Goff is elite. Again, using the word elite, Ronis, he's saying, he's hanging a lot at MetLife Stadium, Jets and Giants country. The word elite gets thrown a lot around. Oh, fantasy elite. He wanted to make sure that
I was going to say, he said elite. He was saying elite because he was watching Daniel Jones a lot. So that's the comparison. So anyone looks elite next to Daniel Jones. So that's probably why.
Durst has changed his stance in the comments section 3 times. First, we've gone from Goff is elite to he's fantasy elite to elite garbage time quarterback. There you go. You're catching on right there, Nick Durst. Let's talk about another injury scenario. T. Higgins, Hayden Hurst, both questionable for the Bengals. And then the Saints, we're waiting on this one with Michael Thomas. He is not going to play. Coach Allen reported earlier saying that Andy Dalton will start. Jarvis Landry questionable as well. I mean, I'm wondering, Rowan, when it comes to this game for the Saints, and based off what you saw from Dalton last week in London, I'm actually kind of wondering whether or not this Saints offense is going to be able to put it together. Where are we with Alvin Kamara? Anything that you've seen on him at all that would make you think that he's not playing?
No, it sounds like he's playing, would be my guess. But you never know with him. But my guess is you will see him play this week.
Dude, I'll say this, and I'm not really giving much away. With Seattle, I wanted to try to run on them and everything, and I tried to put myself in a position where I felt safe taking Alvin Kamara props. And I'll give you this, Rona, spoiler, didn't make the finals list for me, but I definitely thought about it when it came to Alvin Kamara because I like the matchup overall for him. Saints are favored by 5 in this one, 46 total here. But Seattle, nothing to really write home about for them on the defensive side. So I was really considering Kamara, but I have this weird feeling I just can't trust the health, and now I'm staying away from the props for the most part.
Yeah, he's a guy that's been banged up, and you kind of want to see it happen first, so I understand that.
Yeah, that's kind of where my head's at regarding all this. What about all of you? What are you thinking regarding some of the players on your teams? Anybody out there, by the way, who's 1-3, looking to save their seasons? Even if you go 1-4, you're still good. 0-5, that's where you got to start to question things and start to take a little bit more action. Be very, very aggressive. Play like there is no tomorrow on the waiver wire. That's once you're 0-5. That's when the warning signs start to kick in that you got to do something to save your season. And I know that I'm the person that says trade out of need, not desire. But, Roan, once you hit 0-5, it just becomes very difficult to bounce back from 0-5, especially if you're in leagues where points don't take precedent for playoff spots.
Yeah, way more difficult if it's based on record, and then you pretty much have to win out. So it's possible. Nothing is impossible, and we've seen people do it, but it just becomes a lot more challenging at that point. And you just become more aggressive, and you kind of go for broke, and you might have to make a crazy trade.
Yeah, exactly. Other players that are out are going to be Treylon Burks. He is out. Rashad Bateman is out. Marcus Peters, Ronnie Stanley for the Ravens are questionable. Justice Hill will not play. No David Montgomery, rather, questionable for the Bears last time I checked. Dawson Knox, Jamison Crowder out. Isaiah McKenzie still in the concussion protocol. He is questionable, as Rona said before. No Poyer. Benson also out for the Bills. We got Daniel Jones. He's active for this game, but he won't have Kadarius Toney, Wan'Dale Robinson, Kenny Galladay, Tyrod Taylor all out. Then you've got Jahan Dotson as expected. He is out. Logan Thomas is questionable for the Commanders. Very interested to see how Tennessee is going to be able to perform, see what kind of offense that they can put up in this game. Ken Walker questionable for the Seahawks. Zay Jones questionable for the Jaguars. Same with Julio Jones for the Buccaneers. Brashad Perriman as well. No Cameron Brate. And then Jair Alexander for the Packers. We are seeing as he is going to be active here. Ron, when it comes to these games overall, what game are you most excited about seeing? I know we were just talking about teams. We can even continue talking about which teams have been most fun to watch, but any game stand out as one that you're very much looking forward to?
Ravens Bengals.
That one's going to be a very good game. I want to see what the Ravens offense can do against Cincinnati. I'm hoping for that one to be a high-scoring game. So we continue looking to see what teams have been fun versus what teams haven't been fun. Where do you stand on the Jaguars? Because the Jaguars, I mean, I got to see them a lot.
They're fun. They're fun.
Yeah, I got to see them a lot week one. I thought that they were fun to watch. The Titans were not fun week one to watch. But they've started putting up some points a little bit here. They've become a little bit more fun. It's mainly for me now because, Ron, Derrick Henry's catching passes these last 2 weeks.
I still think they're boring.
Yeah.
They don't really have – with Treylon Burks out now, I mean, they just don't have much. So they're a boring team.
No, they are. The Colts freaking bored the hell out of me, man.
Yep, very boring right now. Well, offensive line has been a major, major problem for them.
Oh, it's bad. Oof. What about Houston? Houston with their 0-3-1 record.
Nothing exciting there with them. You know, they're the only winless team in the NFL right now.
Yeah, that is true. Kansas City, they haven't been as fun as I think we're accustomed to.
When we're talking NFL this year, they're fun. I know they've had a couple down games, but Mahomes was just absolutely ridiculous last week. So because they have Mahomes, they're fun to watch. Receivers, not that good. But when you have Mahomes at quarterback, he always does something you've never seen before in a game. So I got to say they're exciting.
The Chargers I'm excited about the Chargers. I know that they've been dealing with injuries and stuff, but I've still been very interested in watching the Chargers, especially when they played the Chiefs.
Yeah, they always capture me and make me bet on them before the year and then let me down. So I do like them. Herbert, Mike Williams, Palmer, Eckler, fun team. Keenan Allen's still out, but yeah, they're a fun team. I like watching it.
The Broncos, they're not a fun team.
No, absolutely abysmal. We would have said before the year, yeah, those teams are going to be good. They're going to be fun. And no, they are absolutely horrendous right now. They just cannot score in the red zone.
No, they're frustrating to watch. Makes you wonder whether or not they remember how to play football half the game when you're watching them. And like you keep saying, we have to deal with them in prime time. The Raiders I found interesting. Although with them, it's going to be a race to 35 points every single week for this team. You give it up a lot.
They're a weird team. I mean, Jacobs looked good last week. You got Devontae Adams. Waller's been a disappointment. I'd probably say lean towards yes, just because their defense is so bad. So if you like offense, you should see offense in their games.
Right. You should. I mean, that makes it fun. Like the Eagles two-way team, excellent. A lot of fun to watch them. I don't think we have to debate or anything on that. The Cowboys, I mean, the way they've handled the Dak Prescott injury and just how they've stepped up, especially their defense, they've brought a lot of intrigue, something that I didn't think we'd be saying after week number 1. But I've had a good time watching them, mainly because I've been winning when betting on their side because of how awesome that defense has been.
Yeah, I guess the storyline with them, with the backup quarterback, all the injuries they've had, and that they found ways to be successful. And, you know, they have Michael Parsons one of the best defensive players in the NFL. So if you like watching that pass rusher and what they're doing on defense, it can be fun.
Giants at 3-1, not so much fun.
They are so. I mean, it's just watching Barkley. That's it. Barkley's fun to watch, but man, this is just a dreadful team.
And then the Commanders too. They don't.
I guess it depends who they play. The
Right.
first couple of weeks, good matchups. The offense looks good, and then they play teams that can put pressure on Wentz, and they look absolutely lost on offense. So I think this should be a good week for them against Tennessee.
We will see. Hopefully, Wentz isn't sitting there or running around the entire game. Wolf, what was that? 9 sacks the other game for him? Damn, that he got.
Yeah, he won't get sacked like that in this one.
Yeah, just the Commanders at 1-3 right now. Yikes. Minnesota. Minnesota's interesting. I thought Minnesota would be more fun to watch. They're just kind of decent to me. I mean, Justin Jefferson is Justin Jefferson, but they're just kind of meh to me.
Well, Cousins makes it entertaining because you never know what you're going to get from him. And they do have Jefferson and Thielen, who's still solid, and Dalvin Cook. So compared to some of the other teams we mentioned, I got to put them in the yes. And they could get better going forward.
Packers aren't that fun to watch, are they?
Nah, not really, man. They're a very slow-paced offense. They don't blow teams out, and it's kind of been a struggle for them. Even in years past, when they had Adams, they still were a very slow-paced offense. So, no, they're not really that exciting to watch.
No, Bears are definitely not exciting at all. And then I have more fun watching the Lions than I think any other team in this division, to be honest with you. Maybe it's the fantasy aspect of it.
No, it's their defense is so bad. So if you like offense, you see a lot of points between both sides. And, Amon-Ra St. Brown has been phenomenal this year. And DeAndre Swift, when he's out on the field. And, Goff has done a good job distributing the ball. So, yeah, if you like offense and little defense, that's where Detroit fits in.
Tampa has not been fun to watch this year.
No, I think they will start to get better. I expect a big performance from them this week. They're starting to get healthy. Chris Godwin's off the injury report. Mike Evans, Russell Gage. I mean, Julio, I was never counting on him anyway. So we rarely see them Brady lose 2 games in a row. Now he has. So at home, where they're 0-2, I expect a big bounce back week. And I think they will become one of the better teams to watch going forward.
The Falcons won't, though. I mean, besides Drake London and how they're
they were the first couple weeks. They were the first couple weeks, and then Mariota's pass attempts have decreased drastically. And then with no Pitts, I mean, because if you had Pitts in London, you're like, all right, it's not that bad, but they're not even throwing the football anymore. So that's the problem with them.
Yeah. The Panthers suck. I can't stand watching them. You were just talking about how bad that game against the 49ers is going to be. That they're just not fun. They're a complete mess. Like you mentioned earlier this week, it's a joke that they're almost excited to see when Sam Darnold's coming back. This Baker Mayfield thing, I don't know how they thought that it could turn the team around. It's not working.
And he's very condescending with the media. There was a clip that I saw of him. I was like, man, really? You were talking like that? Have you seen your numbers? Have you seen what you've done? Don't be getting like that on the media. I mean, they're asking legit questions, and you're going to act like that, man? You're a clown.
Yeah, it's just going to bring more. It's just going to bring more. They're going to see they're getting to Baker, and they're just going to keep at it. That's the thing. That's how it works in our world. We want great reaction. Hey, we're going to keep picking. If Ronas is seeing me get upset, we've worked with each other enough. He knows when I'm really legitimately upset. He's just going to keep going and going. Build the fire, create the noise. The media is going to continue to eat him alive if he reacts this way. It's his own doing. The Saints, I feel like, haven't been that fun to watch in about 2 years. Another team that's just very slow and methodical. And just, again, I've liked what I've seen. Chris Olave has saved that also when Michael Thomas was healthy a few weeks ago. That also did intrigue me. But outside of that, they're not as much an entertaining team that if I saw them on prime time that I'd be very excited about.
Yeah, no, injuries have been a factor. No Winston. So, yeah, they haven't been fun.
Yep. 49ers, They're not that fun. I mean, you can take a look in most of this division here. I mean, the Seahawks have been fun simply because, wow, who would have thought that Geno put together some decent performances there and this offense is actually moving. The Cardinals don't play any defense whatsoever. The Rams, Matthew Stafford, we've talked about them. And then the 49ers, I mean, it's almost like the team that I'm most intrigued by are the Seahawks, and that's how sad this NFC West is right now.
Yeah, at least with the 49ers, you get to watch Debo, and he's such a fun player to watch. And if you like defense, they're really good. So, but yeah, I mean, so far this year, there's been a lot of teams that have just been ugly to watch, and some of them we expected, a lot of them we didn't.
Yeah, the Cooper Kupp for the Rams, he's fun to watch. He's the draw with the Cardinals. What do you think about? I mean, when it comes to the Cardinals in general, what do you think about? What just happened?
The DraftKings Happy Hour boost. You want to know what it is?
Sure. What is it?
This one is, oh, man.
Wait, can I guess what it is? Can I guess what it is?
Yeah, guess what it is.
Okay, I'm going to go with Max Scherzer and
No, it's football. It's football.
Oh,
it's football.
Okay, I thought you were throwing baseball. All right, I'm going to go with Josh Allen related.
It's not.
What is it?
Nick Chubb, anytime touchdown boosted to plus 120. I'm not playing it. I got suckered in last week. It'll probably cash now, but I'm not doing it. That means Kareem Hunt is scoring 2 touchdowns this week. Lock it in.
Wow.
Lock it in.
Wow. You're going to prop wars me with that?
You know what? I might play a Kareem Hunt 2 touchdowns. If I find it at good odds, I might sprinkle some money on it. Chubb's not scoring this week.
Wow. Just like that, DraftKings putting the Maloika on it, essentially, for Nick Chubb. But how are the Nick Chubb player props on DraftKings Sportsbook? I might have something I'm interested in, or maybe not. It's time for Prop Wars. 12-8 Ronus right now. Both of us coming off all-star caliber 1-4 weeks from week 4. Let's try to turn the page and improve on that. Give you some props here on the playbook on Bettor Sports Network.
However you're invested in sports, betting, the fantasy, collectibles, and more, join our community on Bettor Sports Network. The Playbook with Fensty and Ronis, presented by FantasyAlarm.com.
I think it's hard to judge Daniel Jones. He's got no offensive line, and he's got no weapons. So, he still made a couple of bad decisions this year, but it's really hard to judge him, and that's the difficult part for the Giants. They have to figure out if he's the guy. How can you make that assessment when he's throwing a Kenny Golladay who can't catch anything?
Jones in a shotgun set. Back to throw. Has time. Fastball to the right side. Golladay makes the catch, but then he fell down and he never controlled it. It's incomplete. He tried to run away from the defender, and he dropped it.
I mean, Richie James, look at this. It is bad. They really need Wan'Dale Robinson and Kadarius Toney out there. And even then, it's still not enough. And I believe Daniel Jones is the most pressured quarterback in football, and it's going to be hard for him to have success.
Corey Nando and Friends, presented by Mayo Media.
What can we say about 5 more passes batted at the line by Baker Mayfield? That's 12 for the season. I've never seen anything like this. Last year's leader had 17 for the entire season. Mayfield's on pace for 51, and the Panthers barely throw.
Thank you. They barely throw. They don't make no explosive plays. They can't do nothing offensively. But when you look at this team, they ran 51 plays yesterday. They had 220 total yards. They ran the ball for 40 yards. They threw the ball for 180. On the throws, it was under 5 yards a pass. They are using their short passing game as a running game, but it ain't going nowhere. There's no explosive plays from anybody. Baker Mayfield's a dog, and that was just a terrible display of football. There was a reason to boo. There's a reason to be calling for Rule's job. There's a reason to want everybody out in Carolina because that thing is pitiful.
Lunch Money with Kyle and Ray, presented by FantasyGuru.com.
We are hearing reports, Ray, that people felt this was so unfair and so dastardly that people are changing rules and allowing folks to remove Kamara from their starting lineup. You cannot break this rule. This is lousy, Ray, and I hate the precedent that some people are setting with this.
later on, the commissioner said, "Oh yeah, sorry, you didn't get up at 6 a.m. today. We'll allow you to make a switch." Sorry. If you're mad at something here, you don't get mad at your league, you don't get mad at the rules, you don't get mad at your commissioner, you get mad at the bloody NFL, who I have said all along, what are we doing here? Why are we trying to take over the world?
It's just bad luck, Ray. This happens a lot, doesn't it? It just doesn't happen with the likes of Alvin Kamara. You got to be awake when the actives and inactives come out.
But again, if you want to lay blame, it's the NFL. Why is the NFL playing games that the majority of the people in the United States aren't even awake for? What are they doing? Isn't it our league? North America's league, or is it Europe's league? So if you're mad at someone, you're mad at the NFL.
This weekend in the National Football League, there's more on the line than fantasy matchups and bets against the spread. The Playbook presents Prop Wars, a clash for gambling supremacy in the world of Dagobet. Here are your combatants, Fensty and Ronus.
Before we begin Prop Wars here on the Playbook, I know that it's different, Rome, because we're used to doing radio shows and now people see us and everything. And I'm sure you noticed laughing kind of like a clown. And that's because I was just thinking about what Ray Flowers was saying. And I'm sure you heard in the promo before regarding Alvin Kamara, West Coast having to wake up early and set their lineups and everything. Part of the game. That's tough. That's how it goes sometimes, man. It's awful. No one.
Yeah, and some East Coasters have to stay up late to watch games at times. It's part of it, right?
Yeah, it's one of those things where you just got to do it. It's not all year. It's a few weeks, and you can go right back to bed. I'm sorry if you're on the West Coast. That's what it takes to play fantasy football. And Ray is right with what he said. And by the way, you can hear Ray Flowers and Kyle Elfrink on Lunch Money all week long, noon Eastern here on BSN, our buddies there. But he's right, though. Blame the NFL. I totally blame the NFL. I don't like these games in London and Germany. Who cares? Who gives a damn? All right? Let's just, we don't have to do that. And let me tell you this, everyone in Europe, by the way, they don't care about football compared to soccer. Actual football is their football. And it's true. Soccer is much more popular out there than football. And having a few NFL games out there is not going to change that, Roan, unless you disagree with me.
Probably not. It probably won't. I mean, I get why they do it. They're trying to market the game there, but it is an inconvenience for us here.
It is. And by the way, on our YouTube channel here, James Grande, you know who James Grande is, right, Roan?
Yeah, I think I know.
Yes, fantasyalarm.com's James Grande asking me why I'm not wearing a Chad Pennington jersey. I thought because it is, by the way, Jersey Friday. Rome, nice jersey you got on right there. You got yourself a shirtsy on.
Yeah, I mean, it's hot out here, man. You know, I can't. That jersey's too thick to wear today, so I got my Max Scherzer shirt on.
Max Scherzer shirtsy.
Mad Max, take care of business tonight.
Yeah, let's see that. That game's getting ready to kick off in the next couple of hours. This is my Dustin Keller jersey. I was given a Chad Pennington jersey at some point, though it probably got injured or something like Chad Pennington. I do have a Chad Pennington, and I'll show it to you guys maybe after the next box break. Autographed hat, autographed football as well. I love Chad Pennington. He couldn't throw more than 20 yards, but accurate passer and smart quarterback. And yes, I'll say that. By the way, he's also asking us, James, if he's gonna have Jersey Mike's or Jimmy John's for dinner. Big decision of the week, Ronus.
That's what he's deciding for dinner.
Listen, he wants to either start for dinner tonight, Jimmy John's or Jersey Mike's. Do you have an opinion one way or the other?
I've never had Jimmy John's.
Really? Interesting. Yeah. Huge subs.
But where I don't know where. I've never seen one around
I thought there was a chain all over the place. Yeah, excellent subs. Jimmy John's and Jersey Mike's. I like Jersey Mike's a little bit better.
I've had Jersey Mike's. How about neither and eat something better?
Wow, that's there you go. James Grande, choice C, get something better. He'll go to Chipotle though with that advice right there, Ron. He's a big Chipotle fan like yours truly over here.
Yeah, that's good to see. You guys are getting very healthy. Love
Yeah,
to hear
hey
it.
man, look, you not many places you could get out of and feel full for under 1,000 calories. Chipotle, one of those places.
And you'll pay for it down the road, but that's
yeah. But you know what? There's like stoppage time there. It's a delayed reaction, so
okay,
it's worth it sometimes.
I meant long term.
Oh, I thought you meant like a few hours later.
No, I meant long term.
Oh, okay. Oh, I see what you mean there. I see what you're saying. I'll be all right though, Roan. I'm gonna be Roan. By the time I turn 40, I'm gonna be on the Adam Ronas diet, and then I'm gonna be able to play softball and play right field just as effectively as you. That's actually the goal.
Yeah. Good luck.
Prop Wars. Let's go here on BSN 5-on-5.
I already know one of yours for sure.
You do?
Oh yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, I can't put it in the chat because you'll see it. Should I text Adam?
Yeah, you text AB or Jared Moore there.
Okay.
So you could text them. You could probably tell. It's interesting, Rome, because I hadn't been on the last couple of shows. So I figured if there was any way you wouldn't be able to tail my props, or there wouldn't be.
Why would I tail your props? Why?
We've had a few same props, so you clearly respect my opinion, which is okay. You're allowed to. Hasn't worked out though when we've matched on props.
All right, I sent it to Adam, so we'll see if I'm right.
All right,
I am not going to. It's a good play. I'm not going to take it because I think you are, and I don't want to lose.
Okay, I'll just say it because it seems too obvious that it's probably not going to hit. I have no reason. I have no reason, and I just bounced up and down because I'm very passionate about this prop. I have no reason to think this isn't going to hit. I don't care. Chris Godwin's back. Mike Evans is going over 56.5 receiving yards. I don't see how he doesn't, Ronas. He's going to get targeted a bunch still. That's not going to change. You've been even saying maybe they do lean off Leonard Fournette a little bit in both the passing attack and on the ground too. Then I'm thinking that Evans should be able to get to this easily. Should be able to get at least 60 yards.
Yeah, I considered it. I mean, I like the Tampa offense a lot this week. He probably will get AJ Terrell, who's really good. So that would be the one concern, but I'm not really worried about it. I think he should get there. So that is a good one.
Thank you very much. That wasn't the one you were thinking, right?
No.
Okay. Ooh, now I almost want to get because I'll go over, by the way, we both write lists of what do you have, Roan, on your list now? About 10, 15 props?
7, 8.
All right, I've got about 10, 15 props that I'm still choosing from. So that's my first prop in Prop Wars. Mike Evans over 56.5 receiving yards. The key for me in this case, because this might not be, because Ronas makes a great point. AJ Terrell has been fantastic. This might not be that game that he hits 110 yards or maybe even gets to the box. But at least one of the things that I can definitely hang my hat on, he's going to get targeted a lot. And I know Godwin's back. I know that the health is improving a little bit. Brady's going to force feed Mike Evans a lot of targets, and I'm for sure of that. And if he doesn't, then I'm never, ever going to attack AJ Terrell in Prop Wars ever again at this point, because I'm thinking that this was the first prop that stood out to me, and I was like, whoa, I thought it was too low. Maybe it was because of the Terrell matchup. Maybe it was because Godwin's healthy and they're getting healthier. I love this one. What's your first?
I will go with Zach Ertz over 4.5 receptions, minus 130 on DK. He's had 8, and 6 receptions over the last 3 games, targets of 4, 11, 10, and 6. Got to figure that Darius Slay will take out a receiver, which should open up more targets for Ertz. And he's been over this in 8 of his last 9 games. And if you like revenge, he's going against his former team.
But do you like revenge? I'm going to ask you this every week.
Sometimes.
Yeah, you can't. That's the thing. You can't like it sometimes. You have to. We've talked about this, Roan. We're either all in or all out regarding revenge.
I don't think you have to be all in or all out. I just don't like the people who love it. And then I go, okay, well, what happened in this game? Well, it's different for him. Okay, how? You know what I'm saying? Like the motivation of a player. So, but yeah, Ertz over 4.5 receptions.
Zach Ertz has been, when it comes to fantasy points and full PPR, he's been top 5, top 4, actually, I've noticed there. Just a very strong season. It's funny that top 5 points per week in PPR, Kelsey, Andrews, Hawkinson, Ertz, Tyler Higbee. And then shockingly, Everett right after that. And then Conklin. That's what we're looking at when it comes to tight end points per week, Road. Crazy.
It's pretty bad right now. There's no question about it. You're feeling good if you have Kelsey or Andrews right now.
Yeah, that's for darn sure. So that is Rodus' prop, a good one. Ertz over 4.5 receptions for his. I'll go over my second one here, and that's because I am very excited. You mentioned it before about the Commanders' offense should be able to put some points up. Tennessee, I don't fear Tennessee one bit, and I'm thinking another receiving yards prop here, or my second receiving yards prop. Terry McLaurin, over 58.5 receiving yards. I'm thinking he's going to get there. You mentioned before, and I was kind of trying to look this up a little bit earlier, and that was players that were actually matching up against Darius Slay. And I believe that was McLaurin's matchup in the Philly-Washington game. And he actually had a pretty decent performance against him, which made me want to start to look at those numbers a little bit more. In that game, he went 6 for 102. So now thinking here in this game where he should be able to put up points because wide receivers have been just crushing the Titans this year, I'm thinking that that's another good one, and he should be able to get at least 60 yards in the air.
Yeah, Jahan Dotson's going to be out too, so that should help. And we just haven't seen much from McLaurin, so this definitely seems like it could be a good spot for him. I don't think they could generate a ton of pressure on Wentz.
Yeah, no, I like this one very much. What is your second one?
Baker Mayfield under 195.5 passing yards, minus 115 on DraftKings. He's had 145, 170, and 197 the last 3 games. And the 197 was against Arizona. 49ers have one of the best defenses in the NFL. They're allowing 3.8 yards per play. And they're first in defensive DVOA. They're generating the most quarterback pressure. Mayfield has a 54.7% completion percentage with 4 touchdowns, 3 picks. He's fumbled 6 times, losing 1. And the 49ers have allowed 46 points in 4 games. I don't see how Baker goes over this number.
They're going to be all over him. And he sucks too. That's the other thing about Baker Mayfield. So
yeah, like we've seen nothing to show that, he can do this. So
I haven't checked. What do you think off the top of your head? Maybe you checked into this earlier. I didn't even think to check this. What do you think the receptions prop is for DJ Moore? What do you think the line's at for that? I'm going to go
the yards or receptions?
Receptions.
3.5.
That makes a lot of sense here. I'm trying to find it here. Yeah, 3.5 for him. That's where we're at with this guy. He is at, as I'm looking down, because I was just wondering out of curiosity before. Yeah, he's at 4.5. Ready for this? He's at 4.5. The over on that is at plus 105 on DraftKings Sportsbook.
Yeah, it's been that bad for him, man.
Yeah, for sure. Kittle, 3.5, plus 105 for the over on him. Robbie Anderson, 3.5, plus 130 for the over on Robbie Anderson, 3.5. So that's the kind of boring garbage that we're going to see in this game, by the way. It's going to be slow. It should be low scoring between the two teams. And yeah, just not looking forward to that. But I'm looking forward to see if this works out. Baker Mayfield under 195.5 passing yards to join Zach Ertz over 4.5 receptions for Ronis. For me so far, I got Mike Evans over 56.5 receiving yards. Terry McLaurin over 58.5 receiving yards against Tennessee. I think I figured out where you think I'm going. I'm down to 2 props on my list that it can be. So I'm wondering if Ronis is going to be able to guess which prop that is for me. And for game strategy, as he has a 4-point cushion against me, will he double down on that prop if he likes it? Find out. We're mid-prop wars here on the Playbook with Fency and Ronis, powered by FantasyAlarm.com here on Bettor Sports Network.
The Playbook with Fency and Ronis, presented by FantasyAlarm.com.
Marcus here.
What up, Pat?
You guys doing Jock Market now? Jock Market's fun.
Tell us a little bit about Jock Market. I mean, it seems like it's only in game, right? You can't do anything like right now. You got to wait until games start, right?
We have to wait for the IPOs to come out. Once the
Right.
IPOs are dropped, you don't have to trade in game. Once the prices are dropped, let's say for the weekend slate or even for the Thursday night slate, they might be out right now. I haven't checked. You can kind of get in on a price.
So that's basically the key to it is beating the market, trying to hop in there as soon as the IPO opens. Are you building a lineup or are you buying shares of a particular player or players?
Players, just build a portfolio. It's just like playing the stock market. I can just go buy Pepsi Cola stock all I want. That can be the only stock that I buy. Maybe better to diversify in case that you're wrong on some of these things. So yeah, you can play as much or as little as you want.
Okay. So I think the part that it's a little bit confusing to me is like when the IPOs open and when to go in and buy and stuff like that.
Yeah, you can go in at any time to go buy because let's say we don't know if Michael Thomas is playing this week, for example. So like no one's going to buy Michael Thomas shares. So when the IPO drops, if he's still sort of questionable or we don't know if he's going to play, no one's going to buy those. His stock is going to go down before the game starts. So if you're like, I actually kind of like Michael Thomas if he plays, well, you just wait until like Sunday morning right before kickoff and just buy all the Michael Thomas shares if he's active. And then you get him for like 50 cents instead of like $2, which he probably is at opening.
So we're not buying like per season. We're buying per game.
Per game. And they have a month-long contest as well where you can do that to see like how it does over the course of the next month. But for every slate, so Monday night, Thursday night, London games, main slate, late slate, Sunday night football, there are brand new markets that you can get into. So if you miss one, no big deal. You can get it on the next one.
Love it.
I'm ready for it now. Basketball season, it's going to be lit.
The Playbook with Fensty and Ronis, presented by FantasyAlarm.com.
Mid-prop wars here on a Friday, getting ready for week 5, Sunday action here on the Playbook before Bettor Sports Live takes over. Rick Kamla, 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern, then the good doctor, Dr. Roto, 10 p.m. Eastern for On Call. Roan, we got 2 props each thus far. If you're just joining us here on BSN, I have Mike Evans over 56.5 receiving yards against Atlanta, and I have Terry McLaurin over 58.5 receiving yards against Tennessee. Ronas has Zach Ertz over 4.5 receptions, and Baker Mayfield under 195.5 passing yards. My third one here, Roan, and I had to wait it out for the injury report for this one. And this is another one that it seems like it's too easy, so it's probably not going to hit. I don't have any reason why to think that it won't hit, and that is going to be Josh Allen over 277.5 passing yards versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. Whether or not the Steelers can put up points, I think that Allen is going to continue to throw, and he is going to crush this team. There were other props I was considering for him as well, but I'm thinking that Allen is going to have himself a nice 300-yarder type of day in the air. So that's where I'm going for my third prop.
Yeah, it seems reasonable, and he's gone over 3 out of 4. The one he didn't last week because of the weather. There is the risk, though, if they do get out to a big lead like they did in week 1, that you see a lot of running in the second half. So that's the risk there. You need Pittsburgh to stay somewhat competitive in this game.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely the truth, and that's what I was thinking as well. And that was clearly not the prop that you thought I was going to take. So where are you going with prop number 3?
Christian Kirk over 65.5 receiving yards, minus 115 on DK. 117, 78, 72, and 60 yards last week. And he only didn't go over last week because, again, tough matchup against the Eagles. The Eagles allow the lowest completion percentage in the NFL. And he's still at 2 for 60 on 9 targets. So the targets are going to be there. It's a much easier matchup this week. I mean, look at the targets he's getting every game. 12, 6, 9, and 9. He's averaging 16.4 yards per catch. So I'm going to continue to roll with this. And you could look, I don't know if I'm going to play it, but his longest reception over 22.5 yards is minus 115 on BetMGM. He's eclipsed that in every game. His longest catches in each game are 49, 26, 35, and 45. So they're taking shots down the field with him. He's making big plays, and it's a good matchup here against the Texans. So been on Kirk a couple times. I did not go to him last week because I knew it would be a more difficult matchup, but I'll go right back to him this week.
And what was the number again?
65.5.
All right, 65.5 receiving yards. Was looking at that one. You've used that a couple of times. It's worked itself out. So we'll see if that one helps out here, helps us better than the 1-4 records we had last week. So that is what we're looking at with 3 versus 3 thus far. Oof, this is getting a little bit tougher for me to choose. So I am going to go. Okay, so I'm going to point of order. What happens if a player, let's just say, because you never know, what happens if we find out a player whose prop that I'm betting for Prop Wars does not play for some reason?
Just get a 0. What are you going to do?
What are you going to do exactly? Okay, I'm going to do it because I believe in this. I'm following my stock watch video that I have on fantasyalarm.com from earlier. I'm thinking that the seesaw is favoring this running back. I'm going to my team, the New York Jets. Breece Hall over 10.5 rush attempts against Miami. Here's the thing with Breece Hall, with Michael Carter. Breece Hall's starting to get more action overall. Michael Carter's carries are going down. And I know that Breece Hall is a little bit banged up going in, but I've not seen anything alarming that would convince me that he is not playing. So normally I wouldn't do anything like this, but this number is so low, and I'm feeling like this number won't be this low ever again after this weekend. So I know that there's a slight bit of risk here, but I'm going to do it anyway. Breece Hall over 10.5 rush attempts against the Dolphins.
I like his combined yardage prop better. I was looking at it, considering it, just in case they do play from behind and then they kind of abandon the run. He's been involved in the passing game, so I kind of like the combined yardage better.
Yeah, I mean, he's been catching passes. I mean, the targets. I mean, Michael Carter, at this point, Roan, Michael Carter is unstartable outside of complete desperation, right? Just like based off what you're seeing, all the stats, everything's trending down for him. And you go.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, it just seems like Breece Hall is going to take over. I know that Michael Carter was, I guess, the name from some of the Jets beat reporters, named starter at the beginning. But at the same time, I think that time is ending for him, man. And over the next few weeks, we'll continue to see the seesaw go in favor of Breece Hall. Last week was another indicator that that's the direction it's going.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of knew this was happening all along. You don't draft a running back that early and not use him. So, yeah, it was great about Carter and all that stuff, but you knew it wouldn't last. And Carter has really not done much on the ground, averaging 3.7 yards per carry, and the targets are starting to go Breece Hall's ways. 14 targets the first 2 games for Carter, just 5 the last 2 weeks. So it was inevitable that we were heading in this direction.
Right, and that's why this number sticks out to me because, look, if they abandon the run, they might abandon the run at some point here. But at the same time, 10, he should be able to get to that. Rather, 11, he should be able to get to that number. And that's what made it stand out to me. So that's what I'm looking at with my 4th prop. What about you?
Going right back to what worked last week, and it's worked many games in a row. Nick Chubb, longest rush, over 18.5 yards, minus 125 on DraftKings. He has 8 straight games with a run of at least 20 yards. Those runs have been 24, 27, 32, 35, 25, 22, 36, and 28. He's getting fed the football. Good matchup here. The Chargers allow 5.4 yards per carry. Chubb has 5.7 yards per carry on the season, and he's doing it every week, man. He's just breaking long plays. He's been phenomenal. So I will play it again. The number, I think that's what it was last week, too. I think it was 18.5 last week.
It was 18.5.
It didn't go up. Play it again. So 8 straight games. We'll continue to roll with it.
Why wouldn't it go up after that, though? Why wouldn't
I don't think a lot of people play it, is my guess.
I'm gonna freaking play that this weekend. I'm gonna look where I can find it, being that I'm still in Maryland, still a couple months away from, or at least a month away from having.
Because I don't think a lot of people play those. Obviously, people are on yards and all that stuff, so those things are gonna go up as people bet them. But I don't think people play that a lot, and I understand why. But again, the trend has kicked in, and the matchup is conducive, and Chubb is one of the most fed running backs in football. So
right,
I'm gonna keep going with it. I'm sure he'll be short of it one of these weeks, but.
I mean, it's bound to happen, but it's bound to happen. But you would think that if it's hit 7 in a row or whatever, that they would raise the number a little bit.
I don't think people are betting it. That's why. Once people, when the people are betting these receiving props, the numbers, as more people bet it, they raise it.
Sure. Wow, that's a very good one. I love that one. That's a good one right there, Rome. I was considering a couple of props here when it came to Nick Chubb. I was considering the rush attempts for him going over 17.5. He's been on that line, though, so then I decided not to go there. I was also considering the over 90.5 yards on the ground for him against the Chargers. So instead, I am going to go with another prop that I think is probably the one that you're thinking that I'm going to go with. And this is another one where it looks easy, but it's probably not going to hit if it looks easy. You can run all over Houston, and James Robinson is going to do so. Come on, man.
Ding, ding, ding.
Guy, James Robinson. This is not hard. It shouldn't be hard to do. Damn right. You can hit that bell all you want. What, you think it's a trap prop over 62.5 for James Robinson?
No, I mean, it looks good. I thought about it, but I knew you were going to play it. So I said, all right, I can't. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I'm not going down with that ship again. I'm not going to do it.
You can run for 70 yards on the Texans, bro. He's going to do it. I don't see why he won't do it. But I'm saying this, it looks too easy. Probably not going to happen. He's probably going to rush for 20 yards, and ETN's going to then get all the work.
I hope so, man. I have ETN in a lot of leagues. I need it.
I knew that was one that I had marked, and I had a feeling that you would know that was the one. So that's where I'm going there for James Robinson over 62.5 rush yards versus Houston. I mean, we've seen him have a lot of success in the Jaguars backfield. Anyone can run on this team. We've seen average running backs have great performances against them. We've seen running backs that weren't doing anything on the ground established, but weren't doing anything on the ground, have good games against Houston. James Robinson, not hard, 62.5. I love it very much. What is your final prop, sir?
I will go with Chris Olave over 62.5 yards, minus 115 on Caesars. Michael Thomas already been ruled out. He's emerging as the go-to guy here, even with Dalton last week. Dalton went to him 7 times. He had 4 for 67, a long of 32. Week before, 147. Week 2, 80. Obviously, week 1 was kind of quiet with just 3 targets. Landry had a big game that week. Landry is questionable. But Olave has become the go-to guy. They're at home against Seattle. We know how bad they've been defensively. So I think this number is definitely attainable for Olave, who has gone over it in 3 straight games. And is the number 1 right now for the Saints, and he's looked really, really good. So Chris Olave over 62.5 yards.
Yep, that was a finalist on my list. I had that bolded out, so that was one of the last I eliminated. A lot of great reasons that you just listed. Personnel issues for the Saints, the connection we saw what Dalton can do. So that's a very good prop right there as well. Ronas going to have a good week here. I'm feeling this. I'm feeling a potential 5-0 from you. Olave over 62.5 receiving yards. Nick Chubb over 18.5 rush yards for his longest rush. That's hit a zillion times in a row. Why won't it happen again? It will. Christian Kirk over 65.5 receiving yards. Baker Mayfield under 195.5 passing yards. And then Zach Ertz over 4.5 receptions for Ronas's prop wars. Mine are going to be Breece Hall over 10.5 rush attempts versus the Dolphins. Josh Allen over 277.5 passing yards versus the Steelers. Then I've got James Robinson over 62.5 rush yards versus Houston. Terry McLaurin over 58.5 receiving yards versus Tennessee. And then Mike Evans over 56.5 receiving yards versus Atlanta. So that is what we're looking at when it comes to our prop wars. Roan, I'm going to read you off some of my finalists that I had that I did not mention that I was considering. Let me know if you would consider any of these props. Breece Hall over 2.5 receptions at minus 115.
Yeah, I would think he gets there.
Zach Wilson over 220.5 passing yards versus Miami.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Nick
They're
Chubb
becoming jet-centric.
Yeah, I noticed that too, which is probably not a good thing to be. Nick Chubb over 90.5 rush yards.
Yeah, I mean, he goes over it most weeks. It's a high number, but, I mean, he's just been going over it.
Right. And then what about the other one I mentioned before, over 17.5 rush attempts? Too risky?
You would lean the over, but yeah, I don't like messing with those numbers, man.
I think I overthought it with this one. Dalvin Cook over 77.5 rushing yards. I'm shying away from betting his props because I'm at the point with him when you just never know when he's going to go out and be out for a few series. I want to just see him and maintain that durability. Although
he got a lot of work last week.
I know he did, and that's why. And I know that it's a division matchup too, and that scared me off a little bit. But it's a good matchup for overall for Dalvin Cook, and he certainly can get at least 78 on the ground.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen how bad the Bears have been against the run.
What about Damien Harris over 59.5 yards on the ground?
Yeah, I thought about that, man. The Patriots running backs this week, I think, are pretty good plays, man. Maybe even for touchdowns. You got to figure both are going to get big workloads here against Detroit.
I almost took Stevenson over 70.5 rushing and receiving yards combined.
Yeah, it's not a bad play. I think both those guys have big games this week. I think both are startable in fantasy.
Right. Not too many other options that they have either, but we could definitely see them run a lot and even some short passes from Zappi as well. I know this was a game that was boring, but what about Jeff Wilson over 70.5 rushing yards?
I can't do it because potentially Debo getting some, so I just can't do it.
Here are a few Eagles ones I was considering. Devontae Smith, which I've gotten with before, over 52.5 receiving yards versus Arizona.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of like Goddard in that game. I was looking at his props.
You're looking at Goddard. What about Hurts props over 251.5 passing yards? I was very much considering that one.
A lot's going to depend on Arizona keeping that game competitive. We've seen Hurts just not put up big numbers in the second half, and that's because teams just have not been competitive with them.
I was also looking at the over 1.5 touchdown passes as well, more as to be against Arizona, and their defense sucks. So I was thinking about that one, but ended up not being a finalist there. But the Hurts over passing yards definitely.
Hurts has only gone over 1.5 passing touchdown one time in 4 games.
Yeah, that's why I kind of took it off there towards the end. What about you? What were some of your other finalists for your props?
Jamar Chase over 69.5 receiving yards. I mean, Ravens are ranked 32nd against the pass, so I might play that. Deebo Samuel over 57.5 receiving yards. He's gone over it 2 straight weeks, and you saw takes a short pass and breaks a big play. So, he's going to get the football. I do like that Evans prop that you have as well. So yeah, those are the ones I kind of looked at. Yeah.
If I had gone with the Olave prop, would you have still gone with it? Because I was considering it for like prop number 3.
Probably still would have. Oh my goodness. Barkley's longest rush is 14.5 yards. It was 16.5 last week. Wow.
You like that one too?
Yeah. I mean, Packers against the run have not been great, right? Yeah. They allowed 90 to Cook, 122 to Montgomery. I mean, Fournette didn't have the big, only 12 for 35, but Harris had 86, Stevenson had 66.
They've allowed the 6th most rushing yards in the NFL.
I mean, Barkley's been breaking long plays every single week too. I mean, and he's getting fed the football a ton. So I think, yeah, he's gone over that in every game. I remember he had 16 against Carolina. That's over 14.5. 68, 29, and 36. And he's going to be fed the football. That's not a bad play either.
I'm interested to see how the running backs do in this game in London, because the Giants have actually allowed more rushing yards than the Packers. Both of them rank in the top 6 for rushing yards allowed. So I'm very focused, and I'm very much wondering on how these running backs will do, man. There have definitely been times, and Right now, as of now, it's been a little bit of a swing and a miss here. I thought that A.J. Dillon, from the fantasy perspective, I thought that he was going to have a stronger season, man. And just he's been getting the carries, but overall just hasn't been the case. He hasn't been getting in the box, really.
No, it's been disappointing. I mean, the carries are there, but after being involved in the passing game in week 1, he had 6 targets, 5 catches, 46 yards. He's been non-existent. 3, 2 targets, 1, 2, 1 reception. So that's evaporated. And, he's not scoring touchdowns. I mean, those games he will be, but he's only averaging 3.7 yards per carry. Look, Aaron Jones is better than him. I mean, that's the bottom line.
Mm-hmm.
He always has been. All this talk about A.J. Dillon, I thought maybe Dillon would play a bigger role because of the lack of weapons of receiver, but we see Lazard's back. He's performing. Dobbs looks pretty good. But Aaron Jones averages 6.8 yards per carry, man. I mean, I know they don't want to give him a huge.
I feel like there are a lot of people that poo-poo on Aaron Jones every year that he comes through.
Well, the problem is he doesn't get the volume. So when you look at him compared to other running backs, he just doesn't get the volume. So there's some week 1, like what the hell happened? 5 carries, 49 yards, 3 for 27. But they did the same thing last year. They start poorly in week 1. And that's why I told you week 2, what was the prop? Easy. Over rushing and receiving yards for Jones. I think it was 86.5, and he crushed it easily. He had 132 on the ground, 38. They lost the game. They realized we got to get the ball in the hands of Aaron Jones. Rodgers talked about it all week. I'm like, this is the easy play. I'm playing it. So, last week he had a good game against New England, 16 for 110. Obviously, he didn't have a big game against Tampa. They're not as good as they were in recent seasons against the run, but
I noticed that too.
Jones is just he's better, and he's better in the passing game. I mean, he hasn't been heavily involved in the passing game the last couple weeks. 3 for 5 and 3 for 11. Like, what is going on there? So that's kind of surprising, but he's better than A.J. Dillon.
They haven't allowed the Buccaneers. They haven't allowed a lot of touchdowns on the ground or anything. They just, I believe, allowed 1, but they're not at the bottom anymore when it comes to defending against like the 49ers. They're right at the bottom. They've allowed fewer than 230 rushing yards. Tampa Bay is like halfway up the list now, I noticed, and we're starting to get more games under our belt. So whereas in the first couple of weeks it was, hey, who they play, and when we were talking about teams like the Commanders offense, well, look at the birthday cake schedule they had. Now we're getting more games under our belt, and they're not that staunch bottom or top 3 team against the run, at least from the overall yardage standpoint thus far.
Well, they still have allowed the 3rd fewest fantasy points to running backs. I mean, you had Zeke in week 1 who had 10 for 52, Ingram in week 2, 10 for 58, Dillon 12 for 32, Jones for 12-36, so they locked them down. CEH obviously had 19 for 92 and Pacheco 11 for 63. So last week was just that was the worst defensive performance we've seen from Tampa Bay by far this year and in a while. So Kansas City just, took it to them. So I think there's still a defense that you don't feel great starting your running backs against. This week it's Atlanta. So Tyler Algier, he's in for a bigger role with Caleb Huntley, but I don't think you feel good about starting those guys. So they've only had 1 running back score above 6.3 fantasy points this year. 1, and that was CEH last week. And, he got the rushing touchdown and then the Mahomes little flip where it wasn't really designed for him. But, CEH did have a good game against them, averaging, about 5 yards per carry. So that's like the first time we've seen this year a performance like that against them.
He's Adam Ronis. I'm Justin Fensterman, and that is what we're looking at in Prop Wars for this week. We'll track it. We'll let you know how it goes. Maybe Roan will talk about his props when he's on Bettor Zone on Bettor Sports Network, 1 to 5 p.m. Eastern. Tom Casale, Corey Parson accompanying him on the show. We got our final drive coming up. Maybe talk a little bit of baseball too. We'll update you on the scores of the wild card series, not only game, but series now, because, hey, we are the playbook. We're giving you the plays to win here on Bettor Sports Network.
The Playbook with Fensty and Ronis, presented by FantasyAlarm.com. The Playbook with Fensty and Ronis.
Alvin Kamara, if I had to guesstimate about an hour before game time, gets ruled out, and it lights the world on fire once everybody wakes up that had Alvin Kamara still in their lineups. You've got West Coasters trying to get a redo or trying to get a sub in because it's unfair that they have to wake up so early to get them out of the lineup and make sure that everyone who's active and in the lineup should be. But isn't that fantasy football, man? Didn't we warn everyone about this?
Yeah, we had this exact conversation last week, which is why it was so funny when I saw all these people on Twitter complaining and asking for a retroactive move. Because this same situation happened the last time I think Saints were in London, and I went over the story. It involved Alvin Kamara. Same thing. My opponent had Kamara in the lineup, and in the halfway through the game, he asked the commissioner, hey, I don't even know where maybe he was California, somewhere on the West Coast. Oh, I woke up late. I didn't know he's out. Can I replace him? And the commissioner comes to me and says, hey, your opponent wants to replace Kamara. I'm cool with it if you are. I said, no, I'm not cool with it, man. This is just like anything in life. It's your responsibility. You knew that there are going to be games at 9:30 a.m. Eastern this year. I hate waking up early, but you just have to wake up early and do it.
What's stopping you from going back to bed? That's the big thing. What's stopping you from that? You get up, change your lives, go pee, go back to bed. It's one of those things that from now on, when you have anyone involved in London games that are the least bit questionable, including injuries that you see late in the week, let's say this happens, all of a sudden, minor tweak for someone, like you're still waking up that morning to make sure that player is playing. It's a few weeks a year in Rome. We're lucky that the NFL doesn't go completely worldwide and we have games in different countries every single week.
Front Yard Fantasy with Simon, JL, and Coop.
Dude, Jeff Wilson looked fantastic last night.
No,
did you see that?
Jeff Wilson had one great 32-yard touchdown.
Did you see the run? Did you see the run?
JL, the run was incredible. But I just want to look at the rest of this stat line to tell you why I'm not excited about Jeff Wilson. 18 for 74. That's why I'm not excited about Jeff Wilson. 18 for 74 with a 32-yard run. So really, that puts 74 minus 32. Without that one run, that's 17 for 32 yards. Or
4.1 a carry? You're complaining about 4.1 a carry?
Yeah.
Why? 4.1's not that bad.
It's jail. Without that touchdown, we're looking at a 17 for 42-yard game, which is whatever. You know what I mean? Okay, it's fine.
18 carries. You were turning your nose up at 18 carries.
I don't hate Jeff Wilson. And it's not that I won't start him. I think he's a perfectly fine start, but that's where the line ends. Anybody who thinks he's anything more than just a fine start is where I have a problem. He's just not exciting. He's not a player that's going to just completely blow up on a given week. He got the touchdown this week. You're thrilled. But next week when he doesn't get the touchdown, when he's 18 for 57 yards, you're going to be like, well, shoot, another classic Jeff week.
Better Sports Network is betting, fantasy, collectibles. It's sports talk done better.
It's time for the Playbook's final drive of the week.
In the end zone, it is caught for the win!
It's the final 4 downs with Fensty and Ronis on Better Sports Network.
Unbelievable! Oh my goodness, what a play!
Time to be clutch here before we send you off to Rick Kamla, Better Sports Live, 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern, and then Dr. Roto for On Call, 10 p.m. Eastern on Better Sports Network. You can catch all of our work at fantasyalarm.com. Mr. Ronis will be on Better Zone Sunday, 1 to 5 p.m. Eastern. You can also catch the Game Day Playbook with John and Pemba and Coop, 9 to 11 a.m. Eastern on Sunday, too. With that, we're going to get to our 4 downs. But, Ron, let's update everybody because I think it's been long enough where everybody who's watching from behind has caught up, and that is what's gone on in the MLB Wildcard Series. We talked about the Guardians beating the Rays 2-1 before. The Phillies dropping 6 runs in the 9th inning. What a nice comeback to defeat the Cardinals. 6-3. Cards got one back in the bottom half, but not enough there. And then the Mariners here as we head to the top of the 9th inning on the road, up 4-0 against Toronto right now.
Yeah, I like the Mariners in this series. Said it before, and they were plus 150 to win the series. I like this team. I think they have the pitching with Castillo, Robbie Ray, Gilbert, and Kirby, and the bullpens were pretty good. And especially with Julio Rodriguez healthy, like what he brings to the top of the lineup, and Ty France and Suarez is and Cal Riley, the young catcher who homered today, Haniger. So I like the Blue Jays lineup. My concern was with their pitching. And Alek Manoah is one of their better pitchers, and he gave up 4 runs today. So now they're going to have to rely on Kevin Gossman, who's kind of been up and down this year, especially in the second half. He hasn't been as good. So that's my concern there. I do like the Rays to beat the Guardians. That didn't happen today, so now they have to win 2 in a row. So we'll see if they can do that. I think those teams are kind of similar. They both don't hit for much power, good defensively, good pitching. So we'll see in that one. And then the Phillies-Cardinals, really a good comeback for the Phillies because the Phillies really did not come into the postseason that hot. They kind of limped in because Milwaukee opened the door for them. But when you have Zach Wheeler and Aaron Nola and some of the big bats they have, you definitely have a shot. So going to be an interesting weekend here. And good baseball, all day. I mean, Sunday's going to be tough to watch baseball. But if the Mets, I hope they don't play on Sunday. But if they do, I'm hoping they do play at night. So I can just have the football on one and the Mets on the laptop. So, but a lot's going to depend. Actually, you know what? I think regardless of what happens, they're going to keep the Mets in prime time.
Mets game for tonight, at least, set to begin at 8:00 Eastern. You thinking one way or the other? Objectively, of course, regarding this game, Scherzer versus Yu Darvish.
No betting on it. I want to sit back and either enjoy it or stress out.
Do you think that they're going to win, though? Just, talking as a fan?
I expect them to, yeah. I mean, they've been consistent all season long. They have good pitching. I know the Padres do, too. They play well at home. Marte is back. He's hitting 6th. They did say he was hitting home runs in BP, so you just hope that he's okay. But that definitely helps lengthen the lineup a little bit. So, yeah, I do expect them to win. But I know it's not going to be easy, and a 3-game series, I know it sounds cliche, but it is true. Anything could happen. I mean, the Mets got swept by the Cubs in a 3-game series. I know it's different now, but you can't have a bad game. Like you can't have what the Cardinals did today. I mean, this could cost them the season. You're up 2-0 in the 9th and you blow it. So that could cost you your season.
Yeah. 6-3 in that game. Just wow, the Phillies coming back big time, furiously in the 9th inning. Let's get to the final 4 downs here. We do it every single week on the playbook, and our first down being the MVP of the week. Roan, this could be an athlete, this could be a person, this could be whoever the hell you want. Who's the MVP of the week?
Patrick Mahomes for his performance on Sunday. It was unbelievable watching him. It was only 249 yards, but he was control that game. 3 touchdowns. That little flip touchdown. I mean, just amazing to watch. So I think a lot of people were like, "Oh, Kansas City not going to be their division this year." We kind of went through that briefly last year, and it's the same story. They look firmly in control. I mean, again, I think the Chargers are really good. Maybe they knock them off, but they have a lot of injuries right now, and Kansas City's probably only going to get better as Mahomes acclimates to the new receivers that were added to the team.
Yeah, no, for sure. For sure. That's the MVP of the week. My MVP of the week is going to be to Fantasy Alarm family member John Impemba for allowing me to be with family the last couple of days there. So appreciate John Impemba, who once again you're going to be able to see on Bettor Sports Network Sunday, 9 a.m. Eastern with Andrew Cooper for the Game Day Playbook, 9 to 11 a.m. Eastern, also powered by FantasyAlarm.com. So it's always good there. We help each other out. That's how we do things. Sometimes I'll fill in for him. He fills in for me, and we appreciate it. That's for sure. LVP of the week or weekend, Road. This could be the loser of the week or even letdown team or player of the week.
I mean, I think it's got to be Draymond Green.
Yeah.
The video came out of him punching Jordan Poole, and going to be interesting to see what happens. I mean, I'm sure this stuff goes on more than we think. Obviously, it's behind closed doors. You've seen tweets from some players today. Former Nick Chris Childs talk about, good thing they didn't let our video footage out. So we know this is going to happen, but for this to leak out and come out like that, I mean, look, we had a similar situation with the Bulls with Mirotic and
Bobby Portis.
Yeah, and what happened? One of them was gone. So
I forgot who it was. Do you remember who it was that ended up getting traded? Was it Portis?
Was it Portis?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's right. I remember
So, I mean, do you see that with this team? Like, what are you going to do with Poole and Draymond?
You can't do anything. They're
right,
the defending champions.
Very interesting there. But yeah, I mean, I hate that the video got out.
So do I. I mean, you would think that. I mean, I don't know how it all works where the TMZ has connections with.
Yeah, and they pay big money for this stuff.
Yeah, I wish that there was that conversation of, look, none of this can go out or anything. That punch was bad. I'll say this. Jordan Poole already on my bus list for fantasy basketball this year for obvious reasons, okay? When Klay Thompson came back, we saw that usage go down tremendously. Stephen Curry's going to take shots. And let's not also forget, Ron, they do have Dante DiVincenzo as well, who, if DiVincenzo can stay healthy, another combo guard for them too. And so that's why when it comes to Jordan Poole, what happened to him, absolutely atrocious. And Draymond Green should not be doing that. You got to be a leader of the team. You are definitely the LVP of the week. But overall, when it comes to Jordan Poole, dude, when it comes to production ceiling for him, it's going to be a lot lower than it was last year.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, it's going to be, he took advantage of some of those injuries during the season.
If Andrew Wiggins sucked in the finals, he would be able to somehow carve out a little bit more. Maybe Wiggins and Klay Thompson, they split a little bit more on the three, with Klay Thompson shifting up a bit, giving Jordan Poole more room at the two. But that's not going to happen. Andrew Wiggins was a hero for the Warriors in the finals. So I don't see how Jordan Poole is going to be able to have some breathing room unless an injury occurs. But nothing when it comes to discipline is likely going to happen for Draymond Green when it comes to a suspension. That's brutal. Bad look for the champs right there. Roan, game of the week from a fantasy perspective in the NFL. What do you think it's going to be on Sunday?
Chargers, Browns.
Wow. Let's see if the Chargers can put up a lot of points there. For me, I guess I'm going to have to, man, you have Chargers, Browns. That's actually pretty good. I'm going to go with, for the fantasy perspective, Titans and Commanders. I think both of these defenses kind of stink. And I was looking at this before we were talking about what game could go over. I know that the Titans don't have Treylon Burks or anything like that. Derrick Henry can still be effective. They can throw to him a little bit too. I'm actually starting to kind of like the over on that. I think that one is going to be the unsung fantasy hero because it doesn't matter as long as we get the points, Ronan. Both of these offenses are capable of putting up a decent amount of points.
Yeah, I don't know if I would have picked that game, though.
I mean, if you get about, let's just say you get about.
I mean, Tennessee is the problem.
Right, but we've seen them start to throw a little bit more. We've seen Robert.
But you said fantasy game of the week. Where are the other fantasy points coming from?
Robert
outside
Woods.
of Derrick Henry. Okay, that's two guys. That's it.
That's true. That is true. And the Commanders don't have Jahan Dotson there too. So, okay, maybe we'll see. Maybe somehow, some way, this will become and everybody will produce there. Fourth down, Roan. Last down, what it is a final play, final thought, piece of advice. What's it going to be for the final play?
If Isaiah McKenzie is out this week, Khalil Shakir will be a sleeper. I picked him up in a lot of leagues this week. We know Jamison Crowder's out, so he could play a big role. They liked him in training camp. We saw him a little bit last week. So if you're desperate with all these receiver injuries, Khalil Shakir. And if you're in my league, I probably already have him. For real.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Wait, I think I got him in the host league. Yeah, I think I did. I picked him up this week.
But you're not starting. You're just stashing it.
I might start him. I have bait. I might. If McKenzie's out, I might have to start him. I have some injuries at receiver. Bateman is out.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. We'll have to see there. Hey, my piece of advice, my fourth down is actually going to be what I've been saying. If you have a problem waking up early, if you're on the West Coast before this London game to check your lineup, you have to message your commissioner and make sure you are setting it up. He's Adam Rodas. I'm Justin Fensterman. Rick Kamla coming up next. Good luck in week 5. Let's all win it here on Bettor Sports Network.
Fantasy, collectibles. It's sports talk done better.